Polo? Marco? Polo?
Get lost in the biggest showroom in the USA. We will beat any deal by $500. Then power your new boat with Suzuki Outboards. 3 giant showrooms of boats, pontoons, and Suzuki Outboards only at American Marine, Shawano.
Up North at 4 with Nate and Jeff starts now.
Good afternoon. My name is Nate Myhock, and welcome to Up North at 4. Today we have an awesome interview with a native artist from Lac du Flambeau who shares some wisdom that you're probably going to want to hear. We'll get to all that in a bit, but first, here's your top 4 at 4. Sometimes a simple trip to the bank can lead to a life-changing experience, at least for Michael Armis Sr., who went to deposit a check the other day when a different teller was handed a note demanding money. Armis recognized the suspect as a former classmate and could sense something was up. So he struck up a conversation and learned the man was in a tough spot and just simply wanted to go to prison. So the two stepped outside and talked, a conversation that ended in a hug and nobody getting hurt. Elsewhere in Minnesota, a pair of peacocks have taken up residency in a neighborhood. Much like the story we told you about in Omaha, these birds have been wandering out in the area in pairs, but recently one was picked up by animal control after a complaint. Now, both sides are discussing the best course of action, and we'll see what that means for their feathered neighbors. You know, we all did it as kids, seeing who could look into the sun for the longest, which was really dumb in hindsight, but apparently we were just missing out on some cool looking stuff as NASA released high-definition images taken from a powerful telescope of the sun's surface. Now, scientists are working to use these pictures to study the giant star from afar. Closer to home, and I mean a lot closer to home, Madison is hosting its annual Brat Fest beginning today. People began lining up at 3:30 this morning, all to get a taste of the best breakfast on earth. And when it was all said and done, 24,000 sausages had been sold. A little bit of sauerkraut, a nice spicy brown mustard for me. Conrad, what's your go-to bratwurst recipe?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a little tough one. I'm actually excited for some barbecue, and Nate, we should definitely get the grill going, maybe. I mean,
I like that idea.
Yeah, with these summer temperatures, definitely. Take a look at this. 70s out there right now. 75 is the temperature here in town. Same thing in Eagle River. Land Lakes is actually at 76 degrees right now. Iron Mountain, same story, is in the mid-70s. For the most part, that's how most of the state's looking right now. Our average should be around 70 degrees, so above average today. But look what happens the next few days, especially Monday into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Look at that. 80s will be back, and not only 1 or 2 days, we're looking at pretty much the whole week next week. Temperatures will be above average in the 70s, mostly in those 80s, so pretty much near hot weather will be here. It is a bit breezy outside right now. We have around a 7-mile-an-hour wind here in town. Merrill, Wausau into Mosinee, same story. Anago, same thing, 6 miles an hour there. So wind gusts closer to 15 with dew points really, really low. We are in the teens and 20s for dew points. That means more fire weather danger out there today and once again tomorrow and the next couple of days. With all this dry air, lots of sunshine, a little bit of a breeze, and dry vegetation. Not a good combination, but overall though, the weather will be nice tonight. More near average temperatures will be hovering in those lower 40s. We'll have more news and weather coming up.
Living off the loneliness of wild blue, deeper than
Oh boy, would you look at that field goal he kicked right there?
That looks fantastic. Boy, it looks like you need to stop at Tomahawk Furniture and Gun.
Furniture and guns?
Yeah, they've got everything you need at great prices. Recliners, sofas, mattresses.
And guns?
When you really need to sleep, you reach for the really good stuff. ZzzQuil Ultra helps you sleep better and longer when you need it most. It's non-habit forming and powered by the makers of NyQuil. ZzzQuil Ultra, when you really, really need to sleep.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin.
Excuse me.
Roll it back, everybody.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Is it time to update your driveway? Contact S&B Asphalt to blacktop your driveway. An update not only looks nice, but it saves on maintenance and adds value to your property. Seal coating and blacktopping residential driveways, commercial properties, and private roads. S&B is equipped for the job. With a strong reputation as an honest company with competitive pricing, you don't need to turn anywhere else. Call S&B Asphalt today for a free estimate.
As a veteran of our country's armed services, you have already made the ultimate sacrifice. Why should you have to continue to do that? Through no fault of your own, you may be experiencing hardships, such as the inability to pay rent, utilities, or receive other life-sustaining services. And once again, you're called upon by your family to serve and protect. We want you to know we are here to support you. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. It's not easy to ask for a hand up, but we are clear in our mission. No Wisconsin veteran should ever have to face homelessness or lose heat, power, or water again. 833-WIS-VRAP. That's 833-947-8727.
Welcome back to Up North at 4. I'm joined by Alex Sulainis, who is a native artist here in Lac du Flambeau. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today and chat. And obviously, I see you're working on something right now. What is it that you're doing at this moment?
Right now, I'm doing some beadwork on a canvas that will eventually be a bandolier bag for my partner.
Okay, perfect, nice. And because you've been doing art pretty much your whole life is what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, my entire life since I was a little kid. There was actually a show, this is a random sidetrack, there was a show called Pappy's Land that used to be on public television, and I would race home from school and sit in front of it. We didn't have cable, but it was like a drawing kids show, and I would sit and I would draw. So
like from a young age, you're like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I didn't have many people who supported it as a career, so I don't think that I really saw myself doing that as an adult, as a future, but that's definitely what I always wanted to do. So when did that kind of become like the reality for you then, to be like, you know what, this is something I could do, and I feel, you know, I've got a good support system now to take that leap? Well, it shifted. So I took a long portion of my life, probably about 10 years or so, focused on serving and volunteering and kind of in humanities work, and then decided to do something that I thought was totally selfish and focus on me, and I decided to go to cosmetology school. So that was my first kind of step into creativity as a career. But it wasn't until maybe 5 years ago that I decided, no, there's no reason for me to not pursue it and really do what I want to do. And a lot of that is due to my partner. My partner is a very successful artist, and I've seen how he handles things, and it's easy for him to make a living doing what he loves doing. And then it enables me to spend time with my family and have a flexible schedule and work with my kids and not be so in the system. Yeah, I feel you there. And so, I mean, for you, like you said, your partner's an artist as well, and just kind of having that, like I said it before, but it's like that support system and just knowing like, I can do this. Like, this is something that I can pursue. What does that mean to you, just to kind of have that support and love and whatever you want to call it? Honestly, it means everything, because I wish that I would have had it when I was younger, but something that our Native communities especially face is this idea that you have to fit into this path, into this system. So you need to go to school and you have to act a certain way and look a certain way and live by these requirements. And then after that, go to college. And then after that, be in a career behind a desk or in a location where you have a boss, you have someone overseeing what you do. Yeah, it means everything. And I hope that my kids can see that too and be like, no, I can do what I want. I don't have to follow a certain step in life. I can make my own path. So
I think it's inspiring what you're doing. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk a little bit more about this. We're going to take a quick break on Up North at 4, so stick with us. Welcome back to Up North at 4 at Adaawe Design Collective in Lac du Flambeau, and joined by Alex, who is the owner of this joint. And Alex, when we were talking before, and I kind of asked you about the inspiration or what kind of drives you to want to pursue art as a career, you mentioned, just being you didn't say a role model, but you just wanted to be someone who kind of breaks that cycle, and you want someone who your kids look up to as kind of I've seen mom do it, and now I want to do it. What does that mean to you to just kind of be like, this is a dream of mine, and hopefully my kids see that and they realize like they can do this too?
Yeah, it's a really important thing to me to be able to model the behavior that I want them to live in the world. So if I'm going to encourage these people to be bold and brave and not afraid of checking the system, then maybe I need to do that for myself. There's no reason for me to shy away and to live restrained.
Practice what you preach type of thing.
Yeah, I want more for them, so I'm going to start living more.
What do you want people who come in off the street to take away when they leave this studio?
That's a big question.
I've got all the good ones up here, trust me. They don't always come out.
They can take away some shirts or some art or, some purchases. But more than that, I hope that people who come in and visit this space can take away just a little bit of that inspiration to do what they want. Mm-hmm. And so I try to be mindful of that, as well as what am I putting out into the world? What message does that give? What impact does that leave on this earth and this place and these communities in the future? Mm-hmm. So it's all kind of intertwined.
And does that influence your art style itself?
I think I'm very inspired by nature. The colors that I choose and like to work with and create are very naturally based. I draw a lot of inspiration from just messages that I'd like to leave for the next generation. I try to see through that lens. I finished a piece for the Burpee Museum of Natural History, which is in Rockford, Illinois, and they kind of gave free rein to create whatever we wanted to. Their exhibition was it was called Of This Place, and it was tribes that were in the Rockford region there. I decided to create a completely new piece, and I really thought, I was like, look, my art is going to be in front of these people who don't have connection to the history that happened here. And what do I want to say to them? And I actually made a piece that is 6 feet by 9 feet and it's called Dandelion Leaves and Ashes. And it's about this idea that a lot of our loved ones that didn't make it out of the residential schools, there's nothing to mark their graves but dandelion leaves and ashes, these things that are so temporary and blown in the wind. So it's a really intense piece. It's going to be coming back to us, and I'm like, I don't know where to put that. It definitely belongs in a museum because it's very heavy. It's an intense one to see.
A big part of, I think, what drives you is, just based off of this conversation, is influencing the future generation, but also honoring the past and the people and things that came before you. And I mean, that's heavy, right?
It's really heavy.
Yeah.
It's really heavy. Sometimes it's heavy to be in my brain. There's so many things going on at once, but something that gives a lot of peace is that our connection to culture is what heals us. So a lot of our art forms, like I spoke before about there not being a separation between the different spheres of life, there never used to be. So one of our things for mental health was actually doing things like beadwork. It's taking something into your own hands and making you slow down and focus on beautiful images. So a lot of Anishinaabe beadwork that's on everyday things for living, like this bag that my partner made for me. It's all flowers, and you work on it during winter. So in the middle of winter, when it's just cold,
dreary,
and dark,
gross.
You go by the fire and you're in your house and with your family, and you work on these designs that are full of color. It is pretty heavy, thinking about the past and the future, and the way that culture plays a role. We're not supposed to be separate, and one of the big tools of assimilating us was stripping culture away. When we reclaim them and we practice them, it's healing our communities. So the connection between the past and the future, it's like it has to be connected. That's how we move forward.
Because you mentioned it too, like with assimilation and the residential schools and all that, and some of that culture kind of getting lost. This is a way then for you, maybe it's healing, but also just a way to kind of like bring that to this area.
Yeah, and it's not just me. Lac du Flambeau is really rich in history and culture here, and they've done a really good job of putting people in positions to pass that on for future generations. I know my partner, Biskakane, Greg Johnson, he's a teacher in the community, and then some of the work that he does over the summer, he has all these youth that come and they're outside every day. They're learning hands-on, they're in the woods, and everything that they build and everything that they do is art. All our art is meant to be used and worn and interacted with every single day. And it's cool to see the next generation working on that. And
this conversation has just been like inspiring for me, like emotionally heavy. This has been awesome. And in the meantime, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back on Up North at 4. Welcome back to Up North at 4. Sitting here with Alex as she does her beadwork, which looks incredible, by the way. And Alex, you just recently got done working on a very cool piece over in Battle Creek, Michigan, a huge mural for their history museum there. Tell me a little bit about that artwork.
Yeah, so I just finished a mural. It is 12 feet high by 30 feet wide, and it's a pre-contact scene of life in the area. So my tribe is actually from the Battle Creek region in Michigan. I'm Potawatomi, registered with the Nottawasepi here in Band of Potawatomi there. It's a big piece that features bandolier bag type florals, some applique work on the bottom, and then a river central theme of life back, how it was, how it used to be.
I think that goes back a lot to what we were talking about before. You take a lot of nature themes, nature inspiration into your artwork, and so I mean that's like the culmination of it, right? I mean, what's that like, just to kind of see that on that stage, on that level, that scale, be like, I did that?
It was really cool. So we actually just had the opening of the room. It's for their education center at the Battle Creek Regional History Museum. And it was nice to show my kids and my family and the community there this picture of our history that is a little more accurate. So a lot of times people like the idea of native art, but they don't want to hire a native artist. And when you hire a native artist, something that you get is a more accurate portrayal of the pieces of our life, of our community and our culture. And I was able to show that. I don't know, a lot of things depict us just like covered in mud. When we built these beautiful, intricate weavings of these mats that were used for the rugs on the floor of our homes, they were used to sit on, and they were used to process fish and to do kind of that food preservation work. It was really nice to have the opportunity to put that in a visual form where people can look and be like, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah.
You know, what are they doing? I haven't heard about that. I don't know about that. And I'm thankful for this life that I live here in Lac du Flambeau, and my family and my partner, that I've been able to get experience building and being a part of all of these different aspects of life that I could draw on to create this mural and to have it stand as a representation of our history and, again, our present and our future, because it's all still things that are going on.
Definitely. And I think just what you're doing is incredible, and it's so cool. And, you know, I'm sure your kids are going to be looking up to you as like, you know what, Mom is she's a pretty cool woman. So you got a lot of things going for you here, Alex. I'll let you go, but in the meantime, it was a pleasure chatting with you. We're going to take a break. We'll be back on Up North Info.